everyone. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Romanecki, President and CEO of Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, and what a crowd! Thank you for being here for this wonderful evening of Opera in the Gardens. And this is a series that we do of exhibition evenings where you get to tour the exhibit and then experience an amazing performing arts group like the Sarasota Opera. So I hope you all enjoyed seeing TIFFANY, The Pursuit of Beauty in Nature tonight. What do you think? So we've been getting incredible press coverage, and some of you may have seen that we were in London's Financial Times for this exhibit about a week ago, and it's just been so encouraging. We've been seeing record-breaking crowds, and thank you for your support in allowing us to make programs like this possible. So events like this tonight would just not be possible without our sponsors. And I want to thank Mike and Dee Bennett for their sponsorship of Opera in the Gardens. They are major opera fans and really want to see Opera in the Gardens, so here we go, you two. I also want to thank our lead sponsor for the exhibition night series, BMO Wealth Management, represented tonight by Gary Herr from our advisory committee. Thank you, Gary. In addition, we appreciate the support of Virginia B. Toolman Foundation for the series, as well as the Observer Media Group. I did want to mention that there is a group here tonight from my alma mater, Lafayette College, so thank you for joining us. Wonderful alumni group. So tonight, we are just so thrilled to welcome Sarasota Opera. And this is just really one of my favorite evenings of the year. The opera does an incredible job of creating tonight's program and tying to our exhibit in such dynamic ways. And I really want to thank everyone on the Sarasota Opera team, led by Maestro Victor Dorenzi, as well as General Director Richard Russell. And I also want to thank Artistic Administrator Marco Nistico, as well as Director of Education Martha Collins. So what a wonderful team.
Okay, throughout the history of art, there are very few artists whose names are immediately familiar to the general public. The name Tiffany is certainly one that is. Louis Comfort Tiffany often said, "Color is to the eye what music is to the ear." So it seems most fitting tonight to join our music to this beautiful art display. He thought that beauty was a way of life, and moreover, life's civilizing aspect. Said Tiffany, "If I may be forgiven a word about my own work, I would merely say that I have always striven to fix beauty in wood or stone or glass or pottery or in oil or watercolor by using whatever seemed fittest for the expression of beauty." poet Philip James Byerly, saying, "Art is man's nature, nature is God's art." Tiffany's aesthetic was based on his conviction that nature should be the primary source of design inspiration. In music, many composers incorporated the sounds of nature into their compositions, as Saint-Saëns does in this song. The singer hears the nightingale sing as she revels in ecstatic time with her beloved. In 1900, Tiffany was awarded a gold medal for his magnificent stained glass window depicting the 4 seasons. He later divided this into the 4 panels, which are now prominently displayed at the Met Museum in New York. Camille Saint-Saëns was one of Tiffany's favorite composers. He was a member of the movement in music that was synchronous with Tiffany's Art Nouveau in the visual arts. In this song, the poet salutes the spring, reveling that with the rebirth of beauty around him, he will forget all previous sadness.
Soyez
before his exacting demands were met, and he was ready to let the world see his latest venture. About his glass, he said, "I took up chemistry, built furnaces. 2 of them were destroyed by fire, and for some time my experiments met with no success. But year by year, the experiments that had baffled hope gave way to better results. The popularity of glass art due to Tiffany prompted John Philip Sousa, who most of us know as the March King, to write a musical called The Glassblowers. In the first song, we have a group of fascinated New Yorkers watching the glassblowers at work through a window. And in the second, 2 young ladies are very proud of their men who work in the factory. One has a batchman who molds the glass, and the other a teaser who controls the heat of the kilns.
Excessive grace.
designed aspects of the interior of the new Lyceum Theatre in New York City. One of the most prominent playwrights at that theatre was David Belasco, who is now perhaps best known for two works that were adapted into operas by Puccini, Madame Butterfly, being performed this season at the Opera House, and The Girl of the Golden West. In this aria, Jack Rance pours out his heart to Minnie, saying that he has never loved or been loved by anyone before, and now that he has met her, he would give the world for just one kiss. Was disappointed that his son did not follow him into his famous jewelry business. However, he supported him all the same and sold his creations at his store. But much more than diamonds, Tiffany loved glass, which she described as the most beautiful of all the jewels. So it's fitting that Tiffany used glass to memorialize his own father. While often his assistants took part in bringing his designs to life, it's believed that he alone did all the work on his stained glass window of St. Joseph, and the figure of the saint is a picture of his father. In this duet, Joseph and Mary encourage their young son Jesus to feed the little lambs, and they ask God to bless him. a rarity for his time in that he hired women as designers in his studios and even stood up to the unions who were trying to have the women replaced. Clara Driscoll was not only the head of the Tiffany Studios women's glass cutting department, but from letters between her and her family, we now know for certain that she was the designer of many of his most famous lamps, including the wisteria, the poppies, and the butterfly lamps. In describing the creation of one of these, she wrote, "I described this to Mr. Tiffany while he was sitting in front of the electric fan, looking as if life were a burden that he could not support much longer. But when he heard about the primroses, he braced up at once, seized a pencil and began to make pictures, talking to himself and to me. The lamp must be tall and slim like the flowers, and the shade, well, make up your own idea." In the song The Butterflies, the poet wishes she could fly with the ease of a butterfly to go and kiss her beloved. Clara's relationship to Tiffany was a working one, and she greatly revered him and his artistry. He took her on trips to explore art, and on a ship to Europe, in his travel diary, he wrote, "Mrs. Driscoll's letter to her sister is the longest thing I ever saw. Had a curiosity to see what she could find to say so much about when nothing has yet happened." There are many operas that use letter writing as a dramatic device. In this aria, Pericole, a poor street singer, writes a loving farewell to her beloved.
No
friend Clara had a preference for the operas of Richard Wagner. She wrote about a performance of Das Rheingold with soprano Ernestine Schumann-Heink, saying, "It is unspeakably beautiful, and the music could go right to your soul. It was so memorable to hear Schumann-Heink once more in her proper sphere among the gods." In this ensemble, the Rhine maidens frolic in the water as they watch over the gold their father has charged them to guard. They mockingly taunt Alberic as they tell him the gold can be made into a magic ring which gives power to rule the world if its bearer first renounces love.
Thank you.
associates were asked to decorate the Veterans Room at the new 7th Regiment Armory on Park Avenue. Tiffany paid tribute to the veterans by decorating the room using oak, iron, and leather, materials and elements symbolic of masculinity and war. Walt Whitman published this poem as a rallying cry to arms shortly after the first major battle of the Civil War. There are numerous books dedicated to Tiffany's art, but much less is known about the man himself, in part due to his desire to have his art speak for him, but also the fact that his contemporaries said he was a hard man to get to know and actually quite shy. Because of his private nature, Tiffany actually requested permission from Gustav Mahler to attend rehearsals at the New York Philharmonic in concealment behind a curtain. In this song by Mahler, the poet says, "I breathed a gentle fragrance of lime that was plucked by you. It was the fragrance of love."
Oh,
Tiffany, how can I say in a few words what I have been striving to express in art all my life? Art starts from an instinct in all, stronger in one than another, and that instinct leads to the fixing of beauty in one of 100 ways. To assist others to develop their own instincts, Tiffany created a foundation at his Laurelton home to, as he said, help artists in every way to gain a foothold in the world of art. In the opera Ariadne of Naxos, the music master has mentored a young composer. He says, in our world there are many things that mere words cannot express. The words a poet brings to life may be very good, but one art is holier than the others, and that art is music. Tiffany's 1913 Egyptian costume gala was described on the front page of the New York Times as a social spectacle of wonderful brilliancy. He orchestrated and planned every single detail. The invitations were on a scroll with Egyptian hieroglyphics. His studio was decorated to look like Alexandria in Egypt, and all the guests wore Egyptian costumes approved by Tiffany. The theme for the evening was inspired by Tiffany's many visits to North Africa and by the world's fascination with Egyptianism. The fame of Verdi's Aida had played a big part in this fascination. In this final scene of the opera, as Aida and Radames are awaiting death in the tomb, they say, "Goodbye, earth and valley of tears. Heaven opens up to us and our wandering souls fly to the ray of eternal day. Amneris prays to the god Isis for peace." which is now known as the Peacock Feast, Tiffany kept 40 gardeners busy for 2 weeks at his Laurelton home. The pageantry began when a young woman entered dressed as the goddess Juno. The goddess Juno appears in Offenbach's irreverent twist on the Orpheus myth. Here the gods are all terribly bored with the perfection of their heavenly existence and thrilled at the prospect of retrieving Orpheus' wife Eurydice by going down to hell.
Must I
much to the spectacular Sarasota Opera studio artists. They were amazing. It was incredible. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jesse and Martha, for all of your incredible efforts to make this program just amazing. And I want to thank the maestro and Richard Russell for their incredible leadership of Sarasota Opera. Everyone needs to go see opera at the Opera House. So thank you. And please come back often to see Tiffany, The Pursuit of Beauty in Nature. It looks different at all different times of day with the sunlight, and it runs through June 25th. So we look forward to seeing you here often. Thank you.